And yet again, I'm recording something somewhat quiet, you know, because it's still dark out. Woke up at the crack of dawn, the butt crack of dawn. But I have some stuff, some interesting stuff to show you. I'm on the cusp of finishing a run of bows. I still have some final tillering to do, and then finishing bellies, some belly finishing. But I have passed the hump of hard work, so to speak. I have passed the hump of hard work. And first of all, I'd like to say, if the pharmacist that I spoke to last night is watching, hey, you meet the most interesting people, and I'd have to say the most unlikely of places, and I'd never expect to meet like a super cool, fall is great because I get to shoot stuff kind of person, you know, at a pharmacy. But, you know, people are everywhere. Cool people are everywhere. So, hey, I'm not going to pick on you. I'm not going to pick on you, Amy. Although I like to pick on my friends out there in real life and in YouTube land, which actually is real life too, because we're all real people. Okay, first up, and this is going to be a little bit of instruction too. And I apologize because I'm not talking very loud, but you know, if you've been watching my channel, why I'm not talking very loud. The first one is going to be mine. This is not for sale. I am committing myself to keeping this, but it will show you how to string and unstring my bows. Because all of these have a peculiar, it's a hard word to say, kind of string that you don't see normally. Most people use string with a loop on this end and a loop on this end, and the string is just a thing. It is just a thing that's there. Where my strings are active participants in the entire process from beginning to end, the alpha and omega. So let me scoot my little stool out of here. Paddle bow, you've seen it many times before, and you know when you get the string set, it slides up just like any other string. But to unstring it, to de-string it, you pop it off because it's a pin knock again, and you just make that loop bigger, slide it right up from E beginning, and away we go. And the reason I say that is especially for the one bow. That all of them are like this, but especially for the one bow that has an added feature up here. And I'll get into that. Paddle bow, bend throughout. Which one should I show now? Okay, in the vein of paddle bows. Now, I'm going to sit down here again. You must be patient. Patience is the key of the hunter. Is that there are two people, at least actually, that are on my limited form of a waiting list. I really don't want to get into the waiting list kind of thing, because if people request a certain kind of bow, then I don't know, it just doesn't work with me. My business plan stinks, really. It really does. It's not made for like actually producing stuff. I like to do what I want to do, and so far it's worked out more or less. But these are for sale, but two people get first dibs on them. The one person, I don't remember what kind, if any, pattern on his paddle bow he wanted. And I'm going to have to search through my emails, because I talked to him via email a couple months ago. Hopefully you're watching this. And I sold a paddle bow to one of your friends. And you've been wanting one for a while. And you said in the email you still want it. Well, I've got a bow for you, if you want it. The other one is kind of a sad story in a way, but it turns happy. Is this fellow wanted either a turtle design or a frog design. And I wound up, I actually drew it out. It was on the back of the bow ready to paint. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Not because I couldn't technically, but that bow didn't want to be that. It wanted to be in unison with the other bow. And so I washed it off, the pencil, and redrew it to something else. hopefully you will like this. If you still want to have, I forgot if it was either a turtle or a frog bow, and both of them would make really good techniques, or designs, I'm going to have to come up with a new one. Been there, done that on the previous design. I'm going to come up with one that's more fluid. I might have to back up here again on the next turtle design. Are you ready? I want to make sure that these are so cool. I did the one in black, and I'm looking at it, and it's like the other one has to be white. It has to be a mirror image, black and white, and I'm not going to get into, the whys and the hows, but let me just park this thing like this so you can study it. One of these, if you want it, get back to me. Hopefully you're watching this video or on email or whatever. The videos are better. Let me know. You get first dibs. White or the black one. They're both going to be about 45 pounds. I personally favor 45 to 55 pounds, so my bows tend to be 45 to 55 pounds. Again, my business plan sucks, but you get first dibs as far as color. And then the other person, if he wants not the turtle or the frog, whichever one it was, gets first dibs on the second one. These take a lot of time. I've been working on these for days. And with the price of materials, I have to ask. $275 for these paddle bows. And any paddle bows that have like a paint pattern like this. I'm also going to say, on the black one, I washed off the pencil, because sometimes the pencil is visible. On the white one, I left the pencil on. It looked good. Pencil bordering the white. It really makes the white pop. Serving suggestion, just to get you started, as far as whether or not Pacific Northwest Design or Odin had two ravens, so these pass cultural boundaries. So you can think of it either way. So here they are in the 45, 55 pound range, probably closer to 50, but these are BA bows. Nice. And they'll have the same bend like this. The string will still operate the same way it is. Next up, the only reason I do not have this braced higher is because this limb, very slightly stiffer, so I don't want to have it sitting around braced when I still have sanding to do. And you notice on all these things, the back is done, but the bellies aren't. At every step of painting, sanding it smooth, the edges, applying the helmsman spar urethane. Yeah, it's a urethane finish, but it's very nice and it darkens the belly. This is just raw right here, but it'll become a nice, rich, dark oaky color. Tailoring can change a little bit, so until the back is completely finished and dry, I don't consider it done. I shall go today to the pole barn, get these things perfectly tailored and even, get it up to 400 grit so they'll be very smooth, very beautiful, and then finish them, then they'll be ready to go. This is less intricate, takes actually quite a bit less time to do the back by a couple hours, by some hours, than these. And it's different, so this one is up for grabs. This one is up for grabs. What was I saying? I gotta remember, $275. The spot pattern paddle bow not for sale. I'll let this go for $225. I call this one the Talisman, and you notice it's molar gate bed style. It is not a reproduction in any way. This is my interpretation. This is something from the Mysteries of the Past, Return to My Companion, written in Old Norse, runes, Elder Futhart. This is, I call a talisman, and to me it is a talisman. This is not just a design, it is something different. It's something more. I'm not going to elaborate. Everyone has their own thing. 225, again, I'm not sure. I haven't scaled it yet. It feels about 50 pounds at 27 inches. But it's somewhere in there. If you can draw, you know, up to 55 pounds, you're good here. It's a very good weight. And as you saw in that one video, it's a fastball. It's a fastball. It has the twang effect. So for string silencers, will benefit this one. The handle's not on here yet. I should mention, these will have the same as that. Now I'm going to put a skull bead on there. A skull bead, not just a pretty, like, stone bead like that on there. Okay, last up. You've probably watched my short series on the Holmegard molar gate bed and my confusion, which led to understanding of that one. Well, it is finished, and it is an amazing bow. And as much as this is a talisman, this more so. This could be more so. The handle, hemp, buckskin. I'm not sure. This could be an elk tooth. But when I'm thinking of how to make a mark on this, you know, I'm a 9,000-year-old person, and a tooth of one of the animals you would get, that seems like it'd be a nice adornment. Just a close-up. Along with the rawhide spiral near the handle section. No paint, just the rawhide spiral. This hemp and the large ungulate tooth. It could probably is an elk tooth. It also has, keep up and down, these sinew wraps on here because of the needle tips. Now I do have several natural strings I can put on this, either sinew or hemp, but I go with B50 just because of the operator ease. A lot less maintenance. If you have a natural fiber string or a sinew string, to use it constantly, because you have to tie your knot on, you have to tie that knot on. It's not a two-loop string by any means. Because of the tips, the collar right there, it has to grip. It has to be a tied-on knot. There's a slip loop, a self-tightening loop on this end, and then it's tied on here. And it operates the same as paddle bows. Let me get back here. Tip, grounded. If you're outside, throw your head on the ground. Knee, center handle. Pop it off. And I've got a video how to tie a knot, so I'm not going to do it to any great degree, but just about every time you string this thing, because you can't slide it up past that collar, it would be clumsy, you have to tie the knot on every single time. And so you have to get used to looking, sighting down here, figuring out the brace height, and unlike another bow, you know, where you have the things on the string that keep the arrow right there, and you've got your loops, and you take your micrometers and your measurements, and it's like, it's always got to be this to be most. Not the way it worked back then. Not the way it worked. You know, there were no measurements. It's like, that's about right. That'll work. Shooting off the hand. No arrow shells on any of my bows. And that is that. This is gorgeous. Actually, I haven't discussed it with him, but hey, Anthony, I mean, if you're going to get a bow, this thing is screaming Anthony. This is nice. Gotta get $250 for it. These things take a lot of work. They take a lot of time to do. Cost of materials. There's $30 worth of rawhide in here, plus the tooth, plus the buckskin, plus the time. This I think that all my bows give this feeling. They all carry a certain spirit with them, but there's something about this one, really. It goes above and beyond. Okay. 250. Next up, where am I going to go from here? Well, I'm going to keep the lines for this. I love this bow. This is so amazing. Graceful, shoots well, it's very fast. But I am, and I'm not claiming it is a bow made from an artifact, a relic, exact representation, but I do believe that some of them could have been made like this, and it's not going to affect the fact. I'm also, along with this one, which is going to be my concentration of interest now, aside from the 2 Osage bows and the Black Locust I need to finish, they're in the pole barn. I'm going to take this one, and I am going to do the thickened tip, change his profile a little bit, and turn this into a quasi-Holmegard Molargay bed bow. Because I do think that there were some people back then, even in Holmegard, that would have stiffened the tip a little bit and it would have been a little thicker. And so I'm going to have 2 of these things because I love them so much. These are nice. Well, that is that. I've ambled on long enough. Final view. This is a cool bow. And again, I'm not stressing it because the limb is a little bit stiffer on one side. These are cool. And in the Ravens of Odin, not only do you have both of them on either side, and this could Pacific Northwest, or that could also represent the Eye of Odin. You've got the duality of bows and the duality right there on each bow. Cool stuff. And there we go. Closing down. Have a good one.